Again, good morning. I'm Amy Rome, and this is number 12. We have done this. I'm as young as I was when we started, but it has been 12 years. It really is a pleasure to see so many of you here again this year, and we hope that our theme today, diving into data, will strike a chord with everybody and help you be more successful in your work, because I think we all know that data of all kinds is important. I want to start by thanking our two partners who are collaborating with us this year, the Gateway Center for Giving and the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation. They have been just invaluable, their support, their insights. So please join me in giving them a round of applause. So our agenda today is going to start, as we always do, with a look at the result of our surveys of local nonprofits and grant makers, as well as some comparisons to National Giving USA data. Then we're going to hear from our keynote speaker, who we're very excited about, Carolyn Roby of the Wells Fargo Foundation. And that's going to be followed then by our panel discussion that will feature Carol and other nonprofit and foundation leaders. Even though the focus today is on data, we really are not going to be able to report on everything we learned through the surveys. So our intent is just to give you an overview so that we have plenty of time again for the speaker and our panel and your questions. You can rest assured, though, that you can find all the survey results, lots and lots of data, as well as the slides we're showing today, an audio of the presentation, as well as a video on our YouTube channel from the presentation on our website, but on the Gateway Center website, as well as on the Community Foundation's website. So lots of places to check out to get more of the information that we collected. The other thing that we did for this particular event this year is we put a guide together, a list of resources for finding data and tools that you might use to work with that data. So that will be, again, on our websites as well. And I think many of you will find that really helpful. As part of that, I just want to give a particular shout out to RISE and to Vision for Children at Risk for being the go-to data wonk so many of us use all the time. They've got a lot of great information on their sites, and we hope you'll visit them as well. They're listed on the resources. And then over the next several months, of course, we'll also be sharing more of the survey data and answer any questions that we don't get to in our Insights newsletter. So look for that as well. So let's get started with a very important survey question that we have been debating since we started to discuss this. Is it data or is it data? You may just be tempted to call the whole thing off. But no matter what you say or how you say it, diving into data without a clear plan can be quite painful. So hopefully, by the end of today's discussion, you can avoid the risk of data overload and learn how to put your data to good use. Okay, let's start with the larger trends now. Giving USA reports that total charitable giving in the United States in 2013 was $335.17 billion. That represents an increase of 4.4% from 2012, or a 2.7% increase after adjusting for inflation. Giving by individuals, by foundations, and from bequests were all higher than they were in 2012. Corporate giving saw a modest decrease. Despite the hardships during the recent recession, charitable giving has grown steadily over the past 40 years. I think that many of you are starting to see an uptake in your own revenue, as our survey results will demonstrate. And it's clear that philanthropy as a whole continues to benefit from a stronger economy. And again, that's good for all of us. I want to give a big, big thanks to all of you who participated in our survey this June. A whopping 260 of you completed the survey this year. So thank you for that. And you shared some good news. After years again of recession, I'm delighted to report that 71% of you said that you met your fundraising goal this year. That's up from 62% in 2012. Virtually every subsector, including arts, health, education, and human services, did better last year. In addition, 68% of you said that you raised more money in 2013. This is up slightly from the 63% that saw an increase in 2012. Again, a majority of nonprofits in every subsector reported an increase. Looking ahead to this year, 57% of you expect to raise more. So there really does seem to be good reason to be optimistic going forward. So what fundraising strategies seem to be working best? The most effective strategies for raising money are reported to be major gift solicitations, grant writing, and special events. A few years ago, if some of you were here, that list looked very, very different. Direct mail was once the strategy of choice, but it does appear to be losing some luster, and even special events are not as effective as they once were. Both planned giving and online appeals have a long way to go before they are deemed most effective by our survey respondents. Yet nearly a third of you have now started a planned giving program, and 2/3 of you have tested online appeals. With the success of this year's Give STL Day, which was sponsored, of course, by the St. Louis Community Foundation, we're hopeful that online appeals will continue to grow as an effective strategy for fundraising. So what are the biggest challenges that nonprofits are facing? Meeting demands for services with your current staffing levels remains the greatest concern, just as it has been for the past few years. It appears our topic today is indeed timely, since almost twice as many of you cited providing better data and measurements of program impact as your major challenge this year as compared to last. Other concerns include doing more and better marketing and communication to get your message out, and finding ways to rely less on government funding sources in uncertain times. So that's a really quick look at the headline trends from our nonprofit survey. As I said, there's lots more data to be found on our collective websites. Now what I want to do is I want to focus on today's topic, data, and what you had to say about that. I'm sure many of you look something like this when you think about data. I know I do. But funders demand it, board members expect it, individual donors want proof their gifts are having an impact. It can all feel like just too much data. Nonetheless, there's a growing interest in the use of data. We need to use it not only to satisfy our stakeholders, but to also measure effectiveness and efficiency, along with results and impact. In our survey, more than 2/3 of nonprofits overall said they consider data collection and analysis very important. The only exception was arts and culture groups. And we're not sure why, so any of you arts and culture people in the room can maybe address that. Among all organizations, though, 87% of you say that you do collect data. You use it to guide continuous quality improvement, to keep your boards informed of progress, to measure where you stand vis-a-vis your strategic plan, and to provide information, of course, to donors. 89% of you also measured the impact of your programs and services. You tally how many clients you serve and use pre- and post surveys and client feedback to assess how many clients achieve your program objectives. The survey also showed that you track client demographics, client outcomes, and budget data, all of which is useful both for making management decisions and writing grants and issuing reports to funders, of course, as well. We believe a key area for data collection, of course, is fundraising data. And a majority of you are tracking total donations, new donors, major donors, and how often donors give. As you can see from this slide, less than half of you are looking at metrics like the cost per dollar raised, how often you have contact with major donors, or your conversion rate in turning guests into donors. We believe these measurements really help you determine if you're spending your development resources in the most effective and efficient ways, and we believe that they are all very important. Understandably, there are reasons why you may not be focusing on all of these metrics. In our survey, we asked about the challenges you face in collecting and analyzing data. Lack of staff time and lack of staff analytical skills were cited as the biggest challenges. There's also some confusion about the best ways to collect data from clients and knowing, quite frankly, what to measure. Finally, you told us you need more training and support in understanding how to take your data and translate it into something that can be easily understood. So our survey shows that nonprofits across the region, both large and small, have gotten the message that data is important, both for your own improvement and to provide valuable information to stakeholders. The challenge seems to be identifying, collecting, and analyzing meaningful data. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes, but first I'd like to introduce Deb Dubin, President of the Gateway Center for Giving, and Amelia Bond, President of the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation, who are going to review the results of 2 surveys of funders. Deb and Amelia?